Christmas is a huge opportunity for retailers. It gives you the chance to grow your sales and grow your relationships. Christmas styling can truly influence a customer's experience in your store as well as their dwell time. So why wouldn't you want to encourage them to stay longer and potentially spend more? Hello everyone, I'm Nicole from Customer Connect. I hope you are having a sensational day. Thanks so much for joining me. Okay, it's August. You've probably done your buying if you're a retail store. If you're a restaurant, hospitality, you've probably worked out what your Christmas meals and deals are going to be and what you're going to be offering for customers who are booking larger groups and so forth for Christmas. But have you given much thought to Christmas decorations and what you're going to do in your store? So today I wanted to talk about why you should do it. And with my 17 years experience selling in a Christmas decoration store, I think I've got some tricks and tips that you could use in your establishment to decorate beautifully without a huge expense and without taking a whole lot of your important floor space. So why should we bother decorating our store for Christmas? Well, first of all, in Australia, it's actually not that common. Now, I know in America you've probably got more companies, more businesses that actually take effort, but here it just seems a bit light on. So if you decorate your store well for Christmas, you're going to stand out from everyone else. So you're going to give people a reason to come and see you. It creates a great atmosphere for customers. So when they've got a beautiful atmosphere, then they're more likely to stay longer, to dwell, to enjoy being in your store with your experience, and then hopefully buy more. So you can therefore encourage people to stay longer. But I love to throw a little stat in there, and one that I think is really, really vital is the National Retail Federation, so this is America, in 2023, have a stat out that says 84% of holiday shoppers say they're more likely to shop somewhere that feels festive than somewhere that doesn't. 84%. So if they're looking at your store next to your neighbour and you both sell gifts as an example, your store looks beautiful for Christmas and you've got fairy lights everywhere, I know which store I'm going to go into. I'm going into the Christmas dressed store rather than the one who hasn't bothered making an effort. And of course, the other thing about Christmas time is there are so many more potential customers. Everyone is out, they've got to buy gifts. They've got lunches and coffees, catch-ups, and with friends, with work colleagues and so forth. They're out and about, they're doing things, and they're buying because they've got gifts to buy for. So you've got this bigger potential customer base that you should be trying to get into your establishment. And then once you get them in your establishment, you want to impress them so that they come back to you time and time again. So it's a great chance to find new clients, and then you want to excite them so that they come back to you again in the future. I know there's lots of reasons why retailers may not decorate for Christmas. I mean, money's tight. I get that. So we've got financial restraints on decorating. We've got storage restraints on storing the Christmas decorations year upon year. And we've also got time pressures of being in our busy period, November, December, super busy. And then we're meant to stop everything and dress our establishment for Christmas. And the other main issue that I think that people have is space. If you've got a tight retail space or hospitality space and not much extra floor space, then the thought of decorating for Christmas can be, well, it'd be nice to have, but where am I going to put my decorations? How am I going to do this? What am I going to do to make it look good? And not sort of like I've put in half an effort there because I don't have enough floor space. So I want to address that with a few of the ideas I've got for you today as well, because I think there are some great ideas that you could use that are not going to take your critical floor space. So I'm going to share a bit of both. And just a little side note, even if you're mainly online, if you do any videos where you're in the videos and explaining products and so forth, or even product videos, if you can have a little bit of festive cheer, so you can have a little small tree or some fairy lights that you lay around some of the videos or images that you can create so that you can create that little bit of festive cheer to go with your product range, then again, you're showing customers that you care and excited and you're making an effort to show them those products in relation to the Christmas season, which I think is also really important. So don't forget, you can use video and use some Christmas ideas in there as well, very simply. So let's consider some of the main tips and tricks that you could use in your establishment to decorate for Christmas. First of all, ceiling displays, obviously. So if you've got the sort of office style ceiling tiles with a grid and the tiles sitting there, they're great. You can get hooks very easily from shop supply places. Shop for Shops is one in Australia that we use. Any of the shops that sell the supplies that you need in your retail store. And you can get great ceiling hooks that very easily fit in there, and you can hang some decorations from the ceiling. So a couple of things. Paper honeycombs are a great one because they are cheap. They are big these days. There's some really great displays with the honeycomb style balls and finials that are around, finials being the longer decorations. And they are big at the moment, so you should find plenty of them around. So that would be a really easy, simple starting point. You can also hang lots of baubles, so displays look great if you mass them together. If you're hanging anything from the ceiling though, don't forget that it's quite a big space, so I would be looking at using some baubles in the 15 to 20 centimetres, so 6 to 8 inch for our US friends, at least, and mixing them up down to a sort of a 4-inch size, 10 centimetre size, so that you get a bit of impact. And I think you're far better off grouping some things like that together in a few corners or spaces in your store rather than trying to do the lot and just having a couple of baubles sort of hanging all over the place. So make it look intended. Have a smaller area with a kind of denser coverage of hanging ornaments, and you'll get far more impact. Even if you're looking at your front window, you could just have either side, left and right side of your front window with a hanging display. Could look really effective there if you didn't want to do the whole thing. Of course, as well as baubles and honeycombs, you could be using snowflakes. So snowflakes are another great option. Some of them, again, there's paper snowflakes. There's also large styrofoam snowflakes that you could use that look great hanging from the ceiling, and then large finials, so plastic shatterproof finials, which are the larger decorations. If you've got taller ceilings, you can get really big finials that are sort of up to 1 metre or 3 to 4 foot in size, and they can look amazing. Again, I would normally group in 3 to 5, so if you get one large one, get maybe 2 slightly smaller ones and group them together as a 3 as a minimum. They always look more exciting and finished if you have them grouped together, and odds just tends to be the way that we all work. So your ceiling is the first place to not impact on your floor space, and to get nice impact in your building as well as outside through the window. Second one, fairy lights. Fairy lights, fairy lights, fairy lights. As many fairy lights as you can put into your space, I think, is a great idea. So you can use fairy lights, again, hanging from the ceiling. You could drape them across the front of the window if you didn't have a sort of any way of specifically displaying them otherwise. Curtain lights are longer drapes of lights. So you have one string across the top with maybe 20 strings of lights dropping from that up to about 1 metre or 3 to 4 feet in length. They could look great in the back of a window display or even behind a counter, sort of near your sign. As well as hanging lights, you can also just lay lights around displays. Can look really good. There's micro lights, so they're the teeny tiny little lights on a very fine wire. So just laying them amongst some of the displays can look really effective as well. And another one I love to do is have wreaths and garlands inside, so not just for the outside of your store or home. Garlands and wreaths, just plain green or flocked, meaning white, snowy finish garlands, and having them lit and sitting them either like on the windowsill if you've got the window display, or hanging them behind a counter, or sitting them around the edge of a display unit. I think that's another great way to add some ambience and to add the fairy light effect. And also, obviously, you've got the greenery that's clearly Christmas that you're decorating. Wreaths are a really great option for walls because, again, they're not going to take floor space. You can buy wreaths that are 90 centimetres or 1.2 metres, so that's 3 to 4 feet in width. I've found that them covered in lots of fairy lights behind a counter or on a blank wall, whether it's a restaurant or in a retail store, wherever it might be, can be so effective, so pretty, and so simple and easy to do. It does mean you're storing a wreath in the off season, but that's all you have to do, and have that lit. You can light it once, as in put the lights through the wreath once, and then it's ready to go again. But this is definitely one case where having lots of lights on it is really going to make a difference. If you want to hang a big wreath in your window display, that's another great option. Most wreaths are one-sided, so the back's going to look a bit ordinary. But what I have done in the past, if my window's open or if I've wanted to hang a wreath inside the store, I've tied 2 wreaths together and then lit the whole thing. So front and back are both lit, and both are full of foliage, so they look beautiful whether you're looking from the front or the back. So that's a great option if you've got a window display that is open. Now, I always love a Christmas tree. So if you can fit a Christmas tree in your space, I think that's fabulous. I think a Christmas tree is always going to be, what we want to see. If we can, in our own homes, we have a Christmas tree. So if you've got one in your store, I think that's really pretty. You can get Christmas trees that are very slim. So again, to minimize floor space, you could put a Christmas tree on top of a display stand, or table, I should say. So if you want to put a tree in the middle, raise it up a bit. Make sure it's sturdy. Make sure if it's going on top of a table, you've got some weights on it. It's not going to be toppled over. If someone tries to take an ornament off it, they're not going to pull the tree over. So do take some time to make sure it's secure, and then you can cover that easily with a tree skirt or simply some fabric that you put around the base of the tree itself. So put weights. I've used bags of salt. Pool salt is a great one to put around on the base of the stand to make sure it's sturdy. You can also get half trees. So these are trees that sit against a wall. So that way, again, you're reducing your floor space by half that the tree will take. And that's another option. A lot of commercial suppliers will have half trees available that you could look at. Or, as I say, the very slim trees is another option. Or one other that I really like is twig trees. So these are just trees that are white or black or silver or gold, and they're just twigs with lights on them. So they're already pre-lit, and you can shape those so that you could make it quite flat if you want to. So if you want to have it against a wall, you can normally bend the branches around on those to make it sort of 90 degrees, 180 degree, so half tree, or you can have it so the branches go all the way around, front and back. And they're a really nice option because you don't have to do too much work for them. You still need to shape the branch as well to get the best impact. And just while I'm on that, for anything you're doing with your Christmas trees or your garlands and wreaths, do not take them out of the box and stick them together and think your tree looks good. You need to take the time to fluff up the branches or fluff up the foliage in your garlands and wreath each season so that your tree looks beautiful and loved. Because I tell you what, if I go into a retail establishment and they've got a tree that looks like it's come from the op shop and it's been chucked in the back of a ute and delivered and thrown in place, why bother? I have less respect for them than I would if they did nothing at all. All right, so make sure if you've invested in a good tree or garland or wreath that you take the time each season to fluff up the branches and make it look good. There are videos out there showing you how you can do that. I've got videos on the Christmas Coach on my other page you can check that out as well. But really, truly take some time to get that right, and you will make such a difference. A cheaper tree that has been fluffed well looks better than a more expensive tree that hasn't been fluffed. So if you get a good tree and fluff it, you're going to have an amazing display year upon year. Now, as I mentioned earlier, garlands are another option, particularly if you have display stands or you have buffet units, things like that. You can drape garlands across here. I also love them just sitting around the base of a window lit. And what I also like about garlands and wreaths is they look beautiful the first year if you want to just light them. But if you then want to change the look, you can buy decorations and put them onto those pieces and then change the look each year if you wanted to. And when it comes to changing the look, I do think it's well worth having some fundamental items that you don't change. So what I mean, for example, if I like things with red in it, then I'd buy most of my things in red, most of my decorations in red. Then I would buy a few This year I want it to just be red and white, so I'm going to have some white items I add. Next year I'd like it to be red, white and pink, so I'm going to add a bit of pink. The following year I'm going to use the red and white again. I'm going to take the pink out. I'm going to add blue. But the blue and the pink, they're going to be smaller baubles, cheaper baubles that are very easy to add in there without adding a whole lot of cost and also a whole lot of additional storage that I'm having to worry about. If it's gold that you like, then you have more of the gold decorations and then you can add some other colors to it as well. So think about how you can reuse things, but also freshen the look. Because if you've got the same customers coming in year upon year, they'd like to see a slight variation on what you've done compared to the year before. So by having a couple of different colors, but making sure that some of them are reusable, you're going to find that you are going to create a fresh look each year, which is going to enhance the experience for your customers when they come into your retail store or your cafe restaurant. And then even if you want to go further, the first year you might put a few baubles onto a garland. Then the next year you could add some picks and some flowers to it and you can really dress it up. So as you become more experienced in creating the decorations in your store, you can then decide if you want to do a little bit more for it. Again, there's loads of videos showing you how to do it. It's very easy to do and you can get some ideas there. I also think just on ideas, I know that I used to go to the Dallas market each year in January. So if you're out there doing your buying for your retail store and to any of the markets, particularly January, which is a big one for the Christmas ranges, check out the Christmas stores, even if you're not buying yet, and get some ideas of displays. I used to get some brilliant ideas from those guys. They always did an amazing job of displays in their display rooms, and I would use those ideas to create fresh looks in my retail store each year. For Australia, probably the August market or February, or if you're going and buying from anyone who has Christmas as well, even if you're not buying Christmas decorations to sell, have a look at the Christmas displays to see if there's any display ideas that they've got there that you could use. All right, so let's go back to a few more ideas that we could use in your store or in a cafe. I also love a vase filled with flowers, as an example. Poinsettias, Christmas flowers, glittery flowers, something very simple. A few bowls of poinsettias can look really effective. I used to create poinsettia bowls that were a very low bowl and cut the stems off and just bunch up a whole lot of glittery poinsettias and make it just ended up looking like a beautiful dense red poinsettia bowl, low, something that you could use on tables in restaurants would be great. Or again, if you don't have much floor space or something like a jeweler's, for example, I could see something like that just sitting on the edge of the counter being a really great option where you just have that beautiful touch of Christmas without having too much going on in an otherwise busy store. Again, I'm sure I've got videos on that on the Christmas Coach Instagram page showing you how to do that, or on the Christmas Coach YouTube channel, which I will link in the show notes for this episode for you as well. Another little trick I used to use often would be to have a simple bowl. So it could be a glass bowl, it could be whether it's a bowl you sell or something that you bring in just for the occasion, but a lovely bowl that you can put some simple baubles in. Glass baubles are best for this one, and then add some micro lights, those little fairy lights that are probably battery operated, unless you can run a cord, so it depends on your location. Anywhere you can have powered lights rather than battery lights is definitely a plus, because you don't want to have to replace the batteries all the time, and you don't want to have to be fiddling around with displays trying to work out how you do that either. But having a nice bowl with some fairy lights going through it, reflecting through the through the glass baubles and the glitter and rhinestones that they have on them can look really pretty. You can also add a couple of sprigs of foliage in there, whether it be real or artificial. So if you had rosemary available, for example, you might put some beautiful rosemary in there and have a little bit of fragrance coming through there. And just on fragrance, that's the other thing that you can do in your store. So think about fragrance at Christmas time. Do you want to have anything in your store either burning, so if you have candles that you normally burn, or a diffuser? Could you, instead of your normal diffuser, go for something that's festive? So whether it's kind of cinnamon and nutmeg, or gingerbread or candy, depending on whether you want to go sort of very sweet or keep it more into those, as I say, cinnamon, nutmeg. But choose something that's appropriate for you, but maybe change up the scents that you have in your store as well for Christmas time, so they get a beautiful fragrance that also reminds them of Christmas. If you sell Christmas fragrant candles or diffusers, then maybe you have a couple of them going so people can smell it in different areas of the store as well, so that they are enhanced to buy those items from you as well. The other main tips I want to share with you is sort of some practical advice on Christmas decorating. And the first one is, as I've already mentioned, is to focus on a few main areas. You don't have to dress your entire store for Christmas. So think about some key areas. Obviously, window is a key area to start with. You might then go to your counter as the next area that you decorate, or above a main display that you have in your store, something that is your focal point as people come into the store. So think about how you can slowly build up your Christmas display. If you want to do more each year, you can, but just start by going with a few key areas rather than having one or two little bits and pieces spread out around the entire store, because quite frankly, it kind of looks half done. It doesn't give a luxurious feel when you do that. Whereas if you put a few things together and get this vignette of a display, then it looks sort of, more regal, more finished, more polished, and definitely going to impress customers more. So as you begin, start with your window, then go to a couple of other areas if you want to expand from there. I truly think it is worth investing in quality items that can be used year upon year. If you buy cheap garlands that are not full, it doesn't matter how much you fluff them out, they're always going to look like they've come from an op shop. If you buy quality garlands that have lots of foliage on them and they're lovely and full, it's going to be easy for you to fluff them out and make them look good every year. In Australia, I used to buy Artificial Christmas Tree Warehouse. All my garlands, wreaths and Christmas trees, the quality is amazing, so I'm going to shout out to them. There's some great suppliers in America. Vickerman is also a supplier that I used a lot. I got a lot of my stock from in America, and I highly recommend them as well as places you can go to get your display materials. So definitely invest in good quality, and you're going to find that they last and just look so much better in your store. You can also add your decorations gradually. So as I said, you can start with just greenery and a few lights. Then the next year you might add more lights. And then the next year you might start adding some decorations. So it's a great option to build up your display rather than having to invest heavily straight up in your Christmas display. All right, so think about that and how you could slowly build up your display. And then, as I say, once you're building it up, think about how you can reuse things every year, but also freshen the look. Freshen the look by changing the location. So you might have garlands in your front window one year, and then you'll have garlands across all your buffets the following year, as an example. And in the window instead, you'll have curtain lights. All right, so just changing it so when people look, they think it's fresh and new for them for this coming year. The other thing you can do if you do create displays for your store, so we used to, obviously it was a Christmas store, so I had loads of beautifully decorated garlands and wreaths and so forth. At the end of the season, I sold off my display pieces. So then the next year, so these are the pieces that were decorated, heavily decorated. So the next year I could start fresh with something new and impress my customers there. Covered the cost of the items, and it meant that I wasn't storing them in the off season. So that's another option. If you have people who might be interested in your displays, then you could sell them off at the end of the season at just the cost price. And the other tip I've got for you is if you have an option to carry some of the decor items as stock, then I think it's worth considering. Because if people see a beautiful display that you've created, they're going to ask, oh my gosh, can I have that? How can I make that? Where can I buy the bits for it? So it might be a great opportunity for you to sell a little bit more product as well. It might be that you don't carry the stock, but you know the supplier is one that you've bought part of their kind of everyday range of, when I say everyday, Christmas every day, something they carry normally throughout the year. So you might be able to order more for a customer if they wanted you to. So think about whether that's an option. So you're not carrying a whole lot of stock, but you might be able to order it for a customer. So know what they might be asking so you can answer their questions and make some potential money on the side. And this is no different for a hairdresser, for a physio, for a cafe shop. Anything you put up, know where you can get it for the customer and you can make a bit of extra money. Oh, I can get you one of those. Yep, no problem. You put your markup on it and suddenly you've made some money out of your display as well. All right, and I want to finish just with one important side note. And you're going to hear me say this a lot. And I'm not going to apologize for it because I really think it's important. You've got more customers coming into your store, onto your website, into your cafe, wherever it might be during this holiday season. So do your best to gather as many email addresses as you can. Your emails are your opportunity to continue to grow your business and to get people to come back to you time and time again. So when you've got more people in your store, have a sign-up book near the counter and encourage your staff to ask people to sign up. As I said, there's no difference in the cafe and restaurant. I don't actually understand why cafes and restaurants don't ask for email addresses, because it is a huge opportunity to let people know what else you've got going on in your establishment and to get people to come back in. Even if you don't have your email systems up and running yet, and if you don't have emails up and running and you want some help, that's a service we can have a chat about, no problem. So just contact me if that's something you want to kind of get started with. But even if you're not doing the emails yet, don't miss the opportunity to gather those email addresses this season, because once you've got them, then you can start in January looking at how you can use those email addresses and encourage those people to come back to you time and time again. All right, now, as I've said, I have had 17 years in the Christmas decor business. I love a bit of bling and glitter at Christmas time. It does make me feel happy. I know some of you out there will be going, what's the fuss? I don't understand it. And that's okay. But there's probably, I tended to find 50-50. 50% of people are like, oh my God, I'm so excited about Christmas. And 50% are like, oh, what's the fuss? Well, those 50% that are excited, if you can get more and more of them coming in your store, you're not going to put off the other people, right? But you're going to potentially get more people into your store that you may not have come in otherwise. So just because it's not important to you, it still might be something that you should be considering for your business and how you can use it to encourage customers to come in, to smile and enjoy their time with you. Okay, so that is it for today. If you haven't already checked it out, don't forget we've got the Retail Experience course, digital download course that's now on our website, theretailmarketers.com. I encourage you to check it out. It's got loads of tips on how you can create amazing customer experience in your store so that you can maximize the opportunities from every single customer that sees your business, buys from you, and hopefully continues to return to you year upon year. I have a code, it's INSTA, INSTA, which gets you $50 off the course as well. It's only $149 to begin with. There's a lot of information in there, so check it out at theretailmarketers.com. That's it for today's session. I hope you found this useful. Please don't hesitate to DM me if you've got any questions. If you want help creating a display for your store, I can put my Christmas hat back on. I was pretty bloody good at it, and I can certainly help create a display for you. So we can certainly put some time aside for that if you want to. Have a sensational day. I'll see you soon. Bye.